Hello! Today we will learn about nested subqueries versus correlated subqueries.
We'll be your inspectors for the evening, Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Fariba, and Mr. Aaron. We should all be familiar with what a subquery is. Simply put it is a query within a query. Subquery can be nested inside a select, insert, update, or delete statement. As you can see, the query within the brackets is a subquery, and the query outside will be referred to as the outer query. Subquery is used to return restricted data that will be used by the outer query to further restrict the data to be retrieved.
Nested subquery. The subquery is executed once, and the resulting data is substituted into the where clause of the outer query. A query can have a subquery, and in turn, that subquery may have a subquery. Let's look at an example. Say we want to get the first name and last name of customers who have made more than 5 purchases. The nested subquery inside the brackets will retrieve all the customer IDs from the purchase table where the customer purchased more than 5 items. This will be executed once. The outer subquery will use this table to match the customer IDs and only project the first names and last names from the customer table. Correlated subqueries. This is where the subquery depends on the outer query for its values. This means that the subquery is executed repeatedly, once for each row that might be selected by the outer query. Unlike with nested subqueries, correlated subqueries cannot be evaluated independently of the outer query. The outer query will iterate through each of its rows, passing variables to the subquery. The subquery will execute and determine if this row from the outer query should be returned. This will continue to happen until all rows of the outer query are considered. Let's look at an example. Say we want to show the description and quantity of all the products that have not been purchased yet. In the outer query, the products table will be referenced as P. In the subquery, the purchase table will be searched for any rows that have a PID matching the PID passed from the product table P. This will continue for each row of the table P. Here, the first row in products has PID 66. This value will be passed to the subquery, and it will search for all rows in the purchase table with PID 66. Since data is returned because PID 66 does exist in the purchase table, this row from the products table will not be returned. However, for a row with PID 80 in the products table, no data from the inner query will be returned because 80 does not exist in the purchase table. Therefore, this row will be returned as output from the query. Here is the resulting table. The main difference
between the two is how they execute. Nested subqueries get run once, whereas correlated subqueries get run multiple times. Therefore, nested subqueries are usually better when working with large databases because the subquery doesn't execute for each row of the table.
We hope you learned a lot
in this very informative short video. I hope you can now tell the difference between a nested subquery and a correlated subquery. See you later. Have a blast.